Okay, so now if I click these, they do nothing, right? Because I also need a way to navigate, which is the link component. So in here, I'm going to create a link to / that. Okay, and then I'm just gonna. Okay, so now notice they all turned into link-looking things. Okay, if I click about, contact, about, home. Okay, notice it's changing the URL.
Oh, so the thing that's being displayed is the route.
This is the route. This is the nav.
Perfect, yeah.
Okay,
How is it rendering
Because the link.
on the bottom?
Oh,
the bottom part.
Where it's showing
Under.
contact, when you click on the buttons and
Yeah.
it's rendering what you're clicking on?
Yes, so this is the routes, right, that I've set up. I'm giving it the element. I'm saying, hey, anytime this path hits, render this element.
exactly.
Okay, that's what a route is. So if it goes to /home, then show this home component, which is this component right here.
Right.
Okay, if I go to /about, then show this component.
Yep.
Okay, if I go to /contact, show this component. Okay, to go to those places, because I don't want to use an actual anchor,
Right.
right? Because that will make it refresh the page and then re-download all my code. I need to use the link component that React Router also gives me. Okay,
Yeah.
and all that magic is happening through context that browser router component is watching for and saying, okay, somebody clicked a link, I need to update the URL, and then this route watches the URL and says, oh, the URL changed, I need to look and see which of these paths matches and render it. Okay, so that being said, for your planets, you will not write component or routes like this.
Right.
Okay, it will be like the countries one.
Mm.
So let's write a route like that. I'm going to create a new file here, and this one's going to be called planets.js. Okay, and I'm going to create a route path equals /planets element equals planet which lives. So you won't need to do this because you're not going to have all of these. So just what's inside this planets will be basically what your app should look like, right?
Right.
Planets equals or from /planets. Okay, open planets. I'm going to say export default function planets. Okay, I'm just going to call this app again. So that, okay. I'm going to create a planets okay, return okay. So I'm going to call it planets so I don't get confused. Doesn't really matter because I'm exporting default and I'm importing the default. I can name them whatever I want. All right, so I'm going to import here routes again and route again from React Router DOM. Okay. And I'm going to create a new set of routes. So notice this lives inside of a different routes section. Okay? So let's create a route. Path equals slash earth component equals earth okay const actually I'm gonna call this planet for now and call this one planet. So you shouldn't be creating components for each planet. Function planet return current planet is okay. So I go to planets, there's nothing there, right? So I'm going to also create this, and I'm going to pull in navigate again. I'm going to get rid of this dumb thing so you can see. Okay, navigate to planet. Should be pulling that in. Let's see if I got that idea wrong. Console. No routes match planet. Planets slash planet. No routes match planets planet. What did I name it? Planets. Planet. Oh, I thought you could do this. Maybe you can't do this. What if I get rid of this?
If you did just slash for it, it leads you to this that regular page.
Yeah, maybe I just do. I know there's a way to do. I thought if you were inside a route and you had new routes, it would then just continue on the route. Match leaf route at location planets does not have an outlet. This means it will render an outlet without a null value by default, resulting in an empty page.
Did you import planets into the app?
Yeah. Yeah. Planets is here, which is planets here, which is this one, and I'm trying to render this one here. Alright, let's just do this. Let's copy this and paste it here. Call this app fixed.
Oh, there you go. Something like that. Just gotta know the proper procedures.
I did break the dip. How come it's not returning like I expected to?
Can you go back to planet? There's a random letter that I wasn't expecting. An A. Right there next to contact.
Here?
Oh, the arrow.
Oh yeah, that.
Oh, that's probably what it was.
Oh, that's fine.
That's fine.
Okay, there's something wrong with this routes because oh, this should be element.
No.
Component was the old.
Oh, okay.
So dumb.
That's just how it is now.
Still doesn't like it.
Yeah, something's wrong still. But I think it has something to do with that. path planets, element planets.
And that's my theme there. It's like my theme colors.
Oh, I should change that. No, it has purple.
I know, but I'm just saying the lower.
No route matches planet in routes created by app in app. Oh. Is that link should be taking me to planets. No route matched planet. Okay, so this is where the issue is. I need to look at nested routes. React, router, DOM, nested routes. So I'm defining them wrong. That's why it's getting mad. Okay, I don't think I need the routes. Where am I? Oh yeah, I was doing this thing.
Like the claws of video game.
Oh, drop a pencil? No, I didn't.
Okay, curious
My head
word.
was-
I didn't have to bend over, it doesn't count as cooking.
I don't know. Twigs and bird's nest. Twigs and a bird's nest.
Okay, it's going the right place now.
Look it up. Um, I just want to tell the water.
Well, that, at least that's nice and fresh.
Always working.
Yeah,
Aha!
so
Hey, what's that?
A star?
A star.
is that
Oh,
anything with
so you can nest it?
Yeah, so that's how I nested it. Did it show that on this? Did I miss the star? I never saw a star. But this is different nesting.
So does that mean that like anything can go after planet?
Yes.
Like dash planet and anything?
Oh, yes.
V5. I want V6 though.
Okay, but every time we change the planet, we have to call it.
No, you don't.
Oh, because then we're gonna call all of them? I thought we could only call one planet. Yeah, I thought we could only call one planet per each one.
We don't have a dashboard.
There's no like all planets
We decided Mercury would be
that one
our
is.
default.
Yeah, Richard. Which is surprising.
It's the
Why?
first one.
Well, I guess, but
I will
you'll burn
say
up.
the fact that it's not the sun, but the sun is no sun.
Can you close that?
It's a star.
I know.
Duh.
So it would be a solar system app instead of a planet app.
Exactly.
But
can choose the moon, but the moon, wasn't it, the moon of Saturn, was that called again? Anyway.
This doesn't have a.
Doesn't Saturn have multiple moons?
Well, the one that they think is, like, could be a planet, could
Oh.
be, you know, or habitable. What's the name of it?
How?
Yeah, because of the elements on it.
Cool, I don't wanna go to Mars, but I would go
What is
to
the
that.
name?
Saturn's not like
What
moon?
is the name of that?
That's dope.
No, there's all kind of like documentaries about it. I think so. Yep.
Marty, radical, rad. Really?
There's a long one.
There's a longer one?
There's a long one.
No, it's what I'm thinking about, tight.
I think she said
Oh, we'll do that for now.
Tight.
Don't worry so much about this part.
Maybe, alright.
Just wanted this to work. Okay, so
Uh-huh.
right now I have planet, right? And it's doing current planet. Okay, so I want to in here use the use params hook from React Router DOM. Okay, so I'm going to say const params equals use params. Okay, I don't pass anything to use params. This is a custom hook that React Router DOM team made, right? I showed you how to make your own hook before. It's just a function. And you can pass the stuff if you want to, or you don't have to. But usually hooks use other hooks like use effect and use state, and then they just pass back whatever they feel is pertinent to you. Okay, in this case, it's whatever the params are in the URL. Okay, if I console log params right now, I get a star of planet.
Right.
Okay, because that is currently what this is. Okay, star and planet. Okay, let's not worry about that. This is just how I got this nested route to work. I know there's another way to do it. I just can't think of how to do it, and I can't find it in the docs. So we'll ignore that. I don't know how to do it right now.
So, the one in app.js is taken from this.
Yeah, the app.js one. Let's not worry about it. The star is meaningless. Okay.
Don't look at it.
In fact,
Don't look at it.
yeah. Stop looking at it.
It's
Stop looking at it. Okay, here.
well, every planet
I fixed
needs a
it.
star, man. Every planet needs a star.
You broke it.
I fixed it.
Right? Every planet needs a star, am I right?
I fixed it.
Or it just floats off into space.
I fixed it. Look. Yay.
So now we have we have stars without planet. I mean.
Okay, so now I get
Stars.
I get no parameters because I'm not using any parameters, okay? But I want to get parameters because I don't want to have to create a component for each planet where all the components are the exact same thing,
Right.
right? And I'm just changing the data within there.
Yep.
So what I would do here is instead of planet here, I would do :
Mm-hmm.
planet name or whatever you want it to be. It could be planet, but I have a feeling you'll use planet in your state somewhere. So rename it to be something else. Planet URL, planet name, planet param, something, okay? Behold, now we have planet name down here, which in this case is just planet, because that's the URL here. Okay, so let's say I go to Mercury. Okay, I'm going to say this one navigates to Earth on default. Okay, so if there's no planet, then I'm going to Earth.
Okay, so
You can do it however you want. I don't really care.
the first one that has a dash just navigates to whatever the navigate to is.
Yeah, because that's what my element is here, right?
Okay.
I could have a dashboard here. I could have anything I wanted. But in this case, I don't want to have a home page, but I also don't want you to hit the home page and see nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm using this navigate to navigate you to a different planet.
So navigate just means like default.
Navigate just is a component that React Router gives you that works kind of like link, but you don't have to click it, it just automatically happens. So it's changing the URL to whatever this 2 is,
Right.
right? So if I said like test, 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 and I go to slash, now it's gonna refresh to test, test, test,
Okay.
okay? And that's just, if you ever go to this path, it'll automatically move you to that path, okay?
So then planet name, the colon planet name is just identifying.
This is just
and-
saying, this is gonna be a param, a variable, right?
Okay.
So whatever slash this is, will show up in, remember that context thing I told you? Use
Right.
params looks at the context, it looks at,
Yeah.
oh, hey, there is a URL or a route somewhere that said that there could be a variable coming in, and this one matches it. So it matches it and says this was supposed to be, there is no earth route, but there is a route that says that there's a variable called planet name, so I'm going to grab that string that's there in the URL and I'm going to give it as the param.
Okay.
And I'm going to give it based on this name that they used, right? So I have- What?
The fractal, that is fractal symbol there? Yeah, is that, what do you call it, fraction, fractal? Right under return, what is that called? The symbol?
This?
Yeah, what-
Fragment.
Yeah, fragment, there you go.
Yeah.
Fractal,
Pretty close.
whatever.
Fragment.
So why is it fragment?
We don't need that fragment anymore.
Okay, so it could be a div?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I use fragments instead of divs because the div was just there to hold stuff,
Right,
and it'll create a div in your HTML that you don't need.
okay.
So I use a fragment instead because it will allow us to continue to pass a single
Gotcha.
child
Is that,
to React without creating an extra div that we didn't need.
I understand.
Okay. Alright, so now I can see current planet is Earth, right? If I go to Mercury, current planet is Mercury. If I go, so I could create my, I'm going to put my fragments back here because I will use them. Let's create my nav now.
Now you just show them off.
Can I use?
Star is back.
Use Nate.
808, star 808.
Emmett.
808 state.
Expand. Oh, come, yeah, yay. But now I want to do this though. Link. Okay. Okay, so Mercury.
Then need the slash.
Oh yeah, I do need the slash, thank you. Alright, I'm just gonna get rid of the rest because I don't want to think about what the next ones are or type them all. Okay? Alright, but if I go to Earth, changes to Earth. If I go to Venus, changes to Venus. Notice the planet is also changing down here because I am watching that planet name param.
Right.
It's lowercase.
Because that's what,
Planet names come from the
Wow.
yes, so if I change this one, right? Now it's uppercase. So yes, it will match whatever this was, yes, it does matter. different routes.
Ah.
Okay.
Is there a benefit to putting the link, the list around the list?
This,
Is there any benefit to that?
it's just semantics. So it helps with screen readers, and it's technically this is valid
Right.
if you have list items. Are you saying this part?
And when I
Yeah.
got one.
You don't have to have the list.
Really? Cause it is a list of them.
It is a list.
Yeah, it's a list. But that's cool. But that.
You could do this too.
I'm afraid.
But now I wasn't planning to style them, so it just gave me automatic styling. Otherwise, I just get this now.
Oh, so that works then, huh? Where you take away the list and put them all on the same line.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. 'Cause that's what I do.
Because
they're all side by side. Now all I gotta do is style now. That's perfect.
Okay.
I thought that's what would happen, but I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah. So then. Space, justify content, space around. Okay, so again, right? You can see it's changing all of this, and that's based on this planet name. So you'll use the planet name to make your fetches and to look at that data object I gave you, and then pull that information as well as, and you can change that data object. All I gave you was the basic needs, but might be worthwhile to put the name of the files, the SVGs in that data object. Hint. So that you know which pictures go to that one.
Inside the chapters.
The data object I gave you in resources
Yeah.
that has the information.
In that, in that object?
No. So in Slack,
Oh, I know what you're talking about,
I gave you, where is it?
all the content.
Yeah.
This one right here,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? So you get the content, the structure, overview, and geology,
Mm-hmm.
and you get a content in each one of those. Might be worthwhile to throw like an image, right,
Into that object.
in this overview object. That is the image that you should show when you're in the overview, and the image you should show when you're in the structure, and the image that you should show when you're in the geology.
The different buttons.
You could give it the URL for that you would need to change that image to.
So, like geology, image, this, content, this, source that.
You're welcome.
The geology will have two images, right?
Yeah, it'll use the overview image and the geology image.
So then that's just as simple as like pasting both links there? Or would you have like image one, image two?
If it, you'd probably need to have it change to the overview image, and then have something around the geology image that shows it only if you're on the geology button, right? So yeah, you'd have the two images, but then you just needed to use CSS to move it,
Oh, okay. CSS.
Yeah.
right? But it would have like it would have like a if statement around that second image
If.
that would only show up if it's geology. Yes. You could have an image one and image two that shows both, like the,
Yeah.
so that you have the overview. You don't have to remember on geology to show overview.
See, I'm doing the CSS for my navbar
Mm-hmm.
right here in class name, yeah?
If you're using Tailwind, yeah,
Oh, okay.
you have to install Tailwind to get it to do that.
Gotcha.
I'm confused about the tailwind documentation.
Okay.
Cause like some of them use quotations and some of them use brackets and stuff, and I've been trying to upload the background notes for a long time, and it's not showing up. I did it in like the tailwind config, and it's just, I don't know what, very confused. Like it's not even pulling up a path when I try to type in the path.
So you're trying to do this, yeah?
Yes.
So you're doing theme extend, background image, and then you're giving it
Background stars.
hero pattern URL. You can add your own background images by editing the theme section. These don't just have to be gradients, they can be any background images you need. And then, so this would be like one-offs,
Yeah.
right? If you just want to use it one-off. Okay, let's try it.
My other CSS works, so I'm assuming Tailwind is fully installed and functional.
I don't want all this garbage. I don't want to do it in Code Sandbox if I have to do that. Alright, so I'm gonna. Do I just have a Tailwind example? Tailwind.
So you're trying to install 16 additional Tailwind?
No, this is just my.
Oh, okay.
This is just the one I already had installed,
Oh, okay.
so I'm just using it as an example.
We're gonna go and install that now. So what do you suggest?
Oh crap! This isn't a React app. Let's see. Did countries have it?
Yeah, I did. Well, yeah, I remember.
Do I have countries? Oh, it was in kitchen. Yeah, kitchen sink.
Kitchen sinks.
I put kitchen sink.
You got everything in the kitchen sink.
I have a whole bunch of extra stuff in the kitchen sink one.
The dirty dishes.
Yes.
So what you're saying, I can take my tailwinds from my countries and import it into this?
So if you're gonna use Tailwind, just go to the docs on the Tailwind site and go to,
So
Okay.
easy.
Okay.
Highly recommend for people with bad memory.
That's
yeah,
me.
so if you just go to the Tailwind site, hit docs, and then there's this framework guides, and then you just pick React over here, create React app,
Okay.
and then just follow the instructions.
Gotcha.
Every time.
Yeah, whenever you're setting up a new one. Yeah.
That was the part I was on, I didn't sign up first.
So, yeah, if you've already set up the project, you can just skip this create your project one. But then you need to install Tailwind, PostCSS Auto Prefixer, and then run the init for Tailwind, and then you jump in your Tailwind config and change the content to use JS, JSX, CSS. Change your index CSS to this, and then you can run it, and it works.
I think I ran into an issue here because
Yeah.
it's pulling everything from source and our assets aren't in source.
No, you didn't go
So I
to,
wasn't
scroll up,
able to access our images.
hit the framework guides,
So I moved
and then
assets
scroll
from
down
source.
and go to the Create React tab one. And
Oh,
now,
okay.
you'll just skip this one because you already have your project set
Right.
up,
Yep.
and just
So
go straight to number 2.
install. Okay, thanks.
But yeah, it is important to be on the React one, because if you go to the base one,
No,
it's
yeah.
just here, then it's gonna tell you to use HTML and JS,
Right.
which won't work because you're using it in JS and JSX stuff, right? So JS will still probably work, but you should use the React one instead. It's gonna help you because you need more than just Tailwind CSS. You have to have PostCSS and Auto Prefixer so that it'll work with React. Okay. And when you run Tailwind in it, I think there's also like a -p or something that you're running to also set up PostCSS with it when you're doing it with React app. So make sure if you're doing it in React, you do it this way.
What if you're not sure that you did it that way? Is there a way
Can you
to
say?
Yeah, if you need to check, go to your package JSON, and in the dev dependencies, you should see Auto Prefixer, PostCSS, and Tailwind CSS. If you only see Tailwind CSS, then you did it the other way.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I did it the other way.
So, just go and just delete your Tailwind config. Well, do you have stuff in your Tailwind config you did? So like with this one, right, we extended it, so just copy your theme. Actually, it's not gonna change that much, right? I'm trying to think, it doesn't do anything with PostCSS here. Yeah, I would still delete it because you want it to run this PostCSS. You need this PostCSS config, which basically does nothing, but because it's there, PostCSS will work.
So I need to delete Tailwind config.
Yeah, but I would grab, just copy your theme, don't delete it. Just copy your theme and then run these 2 terminal commands.
So copy theme, delete, oh don't delete.
Just leave it and see what happens. Maybe it'll tell you you need to delete it or it already exists.
So once I get it here, I go up into my,
You don't have to import
I don't
anything.
have to import, it's already there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you run all the steps?
Yeah. We're in a 2 step, it was only 2. And they came back the same. When I did this one first, when I did the install,
Yeah, that worked.
that worked, and it brought me down to here, and then when I did the, yeah, it pretty much was repetitive, so I realized I already did it.
Yeah, slow down. Or no, it didn't already do it, you just created it right there. So then we'll scroll down. Okay, now if you run npm start,
So we add content and theme and everything and extend it to PostCSS.
This is in the tailwind config. You don't do anything to the post CSS config.
Oh,
It just needs it.
that, oh,
It's, I don't know what. Yeah, there's a lot of broken stuff.
Module build failed.
Yeah, that's my
App has already been declared.
Right. That's fine. I get it.
Okay.
Yeah, I get it. It's just I'm working on my.
But the rest, commonly, the rest is the same. So you just need to change your content to have a JS, JSX, TS, and TSX, and not worry about HTML. Really, it just needs JS because you're not writing any. We haven't been using JSX. You can use JSX as a file, as a format, file format. We're just pretty much always using JS. And then TS and TSX is TypeScript, which we're not writing.
So, it should be here, the icon should be here, yeah. Here it is. Great. So this is what it is. So it will pull up and I can see exactly.
Okay, yeah, the content needs to have that in it.
Oh, yeah,
The source thing.
so put that in there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it needs to have this source, right?
yeah.
So it needs to look like that.
So
Source,
it's
star,
only
star,
working
star,
from
dot.
the source then? So if our assets aren't inside the source, then that's an issue.
No, so what this does is it says, so Tailwind has all those class names. It creates a CSS file based on what class names you're using. So that you don't get all of Tailwind, because that Tailwind's huge, right? So if you're only ever using the Flex class name, you would just get a CSS file that just has the Flex stuff. Only what you're needing. So content is what you're telling it to watch for class names in. So it doesn't matter that you're pulling in an image from somewhere else, because Tailwind isn't going to care on content. Okay? So now the background stuff.
Interesting.
What?
No, I was just saying, it's interesting, all that in the places too.
Okay. So the background thing,
Mm.
let's try it. Extend background image, right? I'm gonna call it planet. It was stars, right? Is the one you're trying to do?
When you put this in your Tailwind CSS?
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if this
Oh.
works. All right, so let me get the stars image. Where do you have it stored at? Okay, I'll just throw it in source. So my guess is, well, let's just try and see what it does if I say slash.
But stars doesn't have to be the same name as the file, and it doesn't have to be a string.
No, I don't think it has to be the same. This is just an object, so the key can be whatever I want it to be. Right? They just have it named the same for funsies. Why is this mad? Unexpected token. Why is it unexpected? Theme extend background image. to key value pair string, string or undefined. Shouldn't need to be that. Background image. Value pair string string. Null star URL slash source background stars SVG.
Oh, yeah, I can see it happening. 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, the rest, a little bit before the end.
Okay.
That's exactly. And then if you wake up in the middle of the night, just like,
Oh, yeah, that's what I remember.
just to let you know.
Right? And it just feels like you never code actually because you're so, you know, so efficient at it. It becomes like second nature.
Is that how it is?
What?
After never coming.
I wasn't listening.
We were talking about how right now, it's, you know, we put a lot of work in to do little, but in the future it's going to be the opposite. We're going to be so efficient at it that we're going to.
Oh yeah, it's just so easy
Yeah.
all the time. You don't even have to think about whether or not their background stars will show up. They'll just do it.
You just do it, yeah.
They
It's
just
just
show
like-
up.
Yeah. AJ has
I don't even have to look through documentation.
Not yet, not even.
He hasn't had a thought since 2006.
Not a coherent one. All right, let's see. Yes, run it on a different port. I'm gonna ask dumb questions. I haven't done anything with the stars yet.
I'm looking for it. That's when we know we arrived. The stars are back there.
I can't wait to see the app.
Just want to see it, yeah.
Localhost 3001, please. There we go. Okay. Remember I did it in countries? Alright, let's see. App.js. Dashboard. Div. Class name equals background. Stars? Star. Alright. Cannot resolve source background stars in. Oh, but what's source? Okay, so. Config. I don't need source. Okay. Claims that it worked. So let's look. Background star. It shows that there is a background something. Static media background stars dot number dot svg. So let's try. CP source star background stars to public. Okay. Let's restart. Yes. Oh wait. So was this there the whole time? Let's do this. Background black. Where the crap is this div? Deleted. Height, min height, full, min width, full, min height, screen. Aha!
Ooh, look at that. Success. And that's, what color is that? That's gray, the other stars.
So I think it's using the one that's in, so let's try putting it in assets and see what happens. Okay, so now it's broken. I don't think it's the one in public. I think I can delete that one. And I think if I create a new folder called assets inside of source and I move that in there, then it works.
There you go.
Okay, so the tell and config the URL. If I do this, yeah. So if I do / assets, so this URL is from source. Inside of source already.
Yep.
So / assets, then background stars. Yeah, and you just have to make sure that you have a black background and that your component is actually big enough to show the background. Yeah, because it's just white stars.
It's just white.
That would be.
That's good. White though, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Get it. I totally get it.
So,
So it was there the whole time
is
because
this
you weren't getting, because you weren't
You
getting.
get your black background.
with the stars, that's containing the stars?
Yeah, but you could just have it be like your background, like your main
You said this
element.
is source.
You could actually. So let me grab this. You don't need to repeat.
No,
It's
it's just-
default is repeat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool. I need something.
So I think we could actually come in here and throw the div around routes. And then throw your class name right on there. And if I didn't have colors on all this stuff, so let's go up to navbar and get rid of the background color. And get dashboard.
Perfect.
Pretty. Ooh.
What makes it
Guys,
Yeah,
That's nice, Colin.
welcome to the world.
right.
Jamie. I was like, your routes are working?
My routes are working.
Wow.
Holy moly.
I don't want to push this one.
Yeah. There you go.
Nice.
So you could just have the div around your routes.
So do around my routes.
Yeah. But I'll show you, remember I was going to show you how I typically do like the nav and stuff like that? Okay. So let me show you that in the last 20 minutes we have. Okay. So what I typically will do is I'll create a new component called page. Export default function page. Okay, and then page, I'll do, so I'll go get that nav from page. Like this. Oops. Now I'm used to working in VS Code. And then I'll do a route here. So we'll have an element that is equal to page. And then close the route there. Then import page from page, and then page needs from React Router DOM an outlet.
So all this is being recorded, of course, that.
Yep.
Asking the good questions.
Hey, man, some good stuff is going on up there.
Get it.
Okay, and then let's say I had like a footer that I wanted to do. These, again, these could be their own components, like a nav bar component, right?
So you're basically like using page to like let this app as the overall
Kind of,
interval of things.
kind of, yeah.
Components and stuff.
But it works with all of these different routes, right? So, some please, right? So, uh,
What is this type of CSS called?
inline garbage.
In JavaScript?
Yeah, it's inline. This is doing inline styles.
We were told not to do on day one.
Ever. Never do them.
Cause I know how to code correctly.
that margin's on the body. Okay. Yeah.
This looks like sweet potato fries with mayonnaise.
You want one? You want one?
I had,
One.
but it was really good, a really good one.
Do you want more?
I'm gonna go eat a loaded potato now.
Good luck.
A full loaded potato.
I like.
Sour cream and butter and chives and bacon.
Oh, 9:30 at night?
I'm not.
I'm just a heartburn.
Oh, can't relate. When
My
I eat
esophagus is made
spinach,
of steel.
when I eat green stuff, bad times. My gut, too much raw green stuff.
Hey, have you copied written Bad Times? Ooh. You got
Bad
like a
Times.
cent per use.
You
You
would
wouldn't be here right now.
win life.
Yeah, you retired and moved to Hawaii.
It's true. Should have. Why am I so stupid? Alright, so, but this gives you an idea, right? Like, so now I can create all of that boilerplate from my content goes in here, my footer, my nav bar. So this is typically how I do this because not all the time am I going to have an app that has the same content, right? So in this app, you have one component that's going to pretty much do everything, right? But maybe you don't want the nav to be in it and you don't have all that crap in there. You can do this page and then notice this route doesn't have a path. It just is always there,
Gotcha.
right? And then the page just has this is the main piece right here is this outlet that comes from React Router down. This outlet is what React Router DOM uses here to say whatever matches is what gets rendered in that outlet. Okay. Now, the problem with this is if you need something outside of the page, you got to remember to put it outside the page, right? So if I have a route path equals foo, element equals div foo, and I
Make a t-shirt that says food equals food.
Yeah.
That would be
if I go to foo, now I don't have the page anymore, right?
yeah.
Because I built this route outside of the page route. I can move it here, and now I have it. Move it out, now it's gone.
Yep.
So now you have two pages.
Well, I just have a route that no longer is a child of the page route.
Right, it's his own. Yep. Independent.
Okay,
Now it's not. Now we moved out
that's
of the
kind
house.
of, that's
Now-
kind of fun.
Now it's in the house, now I moved out of the house, now it's still dependent, now it's codependent.
It's true.
That's just how it is. I mean,
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Oh, I know. This was dumb. This was really dumb of me. I forgot it was. There we go. Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any questions on React Router DOM?
So good.
Make sense
That
now?
makes that clear.
So much.
Okay. I am going to send this also to resources.
Yes.
And last one, really quickly, is ref. We talked about ref, you wanted to know ref. So, let's leave. New sandbox, React. Move it to Dev Island. Use ref example. Alright, so const ref equals use ref console.log ref. Alright, so notice ref is a object which has current on it, which is undefined, okay? So this is immediately out of the box, it's just returning this object with current, okay? So I can use ref to give me a reference to any of the elements on the page. So let's say I want to use it to get a reference to this H2, then I can say ref equals ref, right? So, and this is based on this name. So if I renamed this to be H2 ref, then I'd get this. So the first time it renders, it's undefined. Once this actually renders, then the ref gets attached to the HTML element, and now I have access to that HTML element in the current, okay? This is going to update anytime it renders, and I'm going to have access to that ref with current on it. I can add to ref. There are different like things you can do to it, where you put a previous on it, or you look at the current one compared to what you previously had or what was in state or whatever, right? Typically, I don't use ref to check on state, but ref doesn't actually update like state does. So if you update your state, ref's not going to always change. It's going to keep like a reference to that element, and it is more stable. Well, it can get stagnant, whereas state usually is up to date. Ref is going to be more based on that element as opposed to the current state of the component. Yeah, it's giving you like the element back essentially, right? I've seen people use refs to try and keep like an old state, so they don't tie it to this, right? So you'd be like info ref. Okay, and now I'm gonna say info ref. Let's use an effect. Console.log info ref. Okay, and we're going to care about some piece of state, data, const data, set data equals use state, object. Okay, if info.ref.current is not equal to data, then info.ref.current equals data. Also console.log updated ref.
So that's like commanding it to equal data? Info.current equals data?
Yes. Okay, so now so console.log ref info ref. Okay, so notice just because I updated the info ref doesn't mean it did anything. Like it doesn't re-render because the info ref updated. Okay, so now I'm gonna say const handle click is this Okay, and I'm gonna give that to on click, handle click. Okay. So my current is an object. Let's put an ID on that one. Gosh. Okay, so I get that object, right? But it doesn't make it re-render. So maybe I want some state, but I don't want the component to care about that state. I just want it. So I've seen people use this before. I don't usually ever do this. The only time I really use refs is to get access to a component or like an HTML element, right? Because rather than doing like a selector to get an input, I'll use a ref and then I can access that ref and look at the current state of that ref and get the value off of it or whatever off of it. But just because the value is changing doesn't mean that my component will sit and re-render, because it'll just push it into the ref and it'll work as is. So my ref will stay up to date, but it won't cause a bunch of extra renders. Does that make sense? Okay.
I'm gonna rewatch this.
Yes.
Okay.
Me too.
Let's see, it's recording.
Let me know if you need more on ref.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's usually just an object with a current in it. But let's say info ref, let's also do this, info ref dot previous equals info ref dot current. Okay, so now I've updated the, oh no, I just deleted. Okay. Console. Okay, I updated the ref. Look at it. Notice I didn't have a previous, so it was undefined. Now it's this. Okay, and let's add a. Let's make this a count. A counter. Count. Set count. 1, 0. And then we will say button plus minus on click set count plus 1. Okay,
I remember this.
let's put a span here, put our count in there, and put our and we'll also put a span underneath, or we'll put a div here, and in this div we're gonna put JSON dot stringify info ref. Okay, so notice my count is 2, but my current is 1, and my previous is 0, because it's gonna update slower. Okay, so count changed. It runs this, and it grabs whatever count is, which, right, it only runs this if current is not equal to count. So
Is current, so current's always on unless we do like,
Yeah, so it's getting an old version
Mm.
because it's count's being updated, but it's getting an old version of count. So it looks like the ref is a render behind, right?
We use ref on inputs.
Yeah, so yeah, you would never really use refs this way. You're gonna use them more, count all this out. So instead you'd have like an input. Inside of a form. This input would have a ref equals input ref. Okay, then you'd have a handle submit function. Okay. Oh. Event dot prevent default. Okay, so this is gonna give us the value or the input back, right? And then this is that input like we selected it in the DOM. So we can look at the value. If it had a name on it. We could look at the name. Okay, you can inspect it just like you would if you were to look at the event and say target.elements. So we could all, if you look at value, you also do event.target.elements, come on, .food.value. So these are going to be the same, right? ASDF, and it did it twice because it's the same value. Okay, so this is one way we can get it from the form itself, or we can have a ref for that input. This is going to be the more likely reason you'll use refs, but you can use them to hold data of some sort as well. And then it'll keep that data even when the component re-renders and stuff.
Okay.
But like I said, it'll be behind, right?
Right.
So, okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I'll
Yep.
definitely have to rewatch some
Yeah.
stuff, but it'll be easy to do that side by side with actually doing it.